What's up, y'all? Back again. Another little movement with Marcus time. Today we're just working on a little bit of functional movement that will support sun salutations. So if you've been paying attention on Instagram, you've seen that has been the focus for the month with the challenge I'm hosting. So we're just going to do some movement that will hopefully support how your body might be feeling if you've been following the challenge and doing a lot of sun salutation movements, or if you're building that into your practice. So let's start off actually lying down. Today you may want 2 blocks nearby. That could be helpful. And as you lie down, you're actually gonna allow yourself to find a comfortable position. That could mean using your blocks to support your knees if your low back ever gets uncomfortable from lying down for a longer period of time. Something like this can be a lot more comfortable. Relax your arms out to the sides. Let your shoulders rest to the ground. Let your hips be heavy. Let your feet relax and fall out to the sides. Take a deep breath into the center of your chest, filling it up. And as you exhale all the way out to the bottom of your belly, drawing it in. Breathe in deeply into your chest. Exhale deeply, all the way to the bottom of your belly. Continue like this a few more rounds. Just finding a rhythm for your breath that will sustain your practice today. The next time you inhale, keep your rhythm of breathing and reach your arms up alongside your ears. If your legs are on blocks, you can move the blocks and bring your legs together. Stretching them forward, taking a long stretch from your fingertips to your toes. As you exhale, hug your knees into your chest, wrap your arms around your legs, squeeze your forehead to your knees. Inhale to stretch out. Exhale, squeeze in. Inhale, stretch out. Exhale, squeeze in. One more time all the way out. Exhale all the way in. Squeeze into the tightest spot you can. Take a little rock on your spine. Whatever spot feels like it needs it. For me, a lot of times that's the low back. It could be the middle back or even the upper back for you. And after you've rocked a couple times, turn your rocks into forward and back along the length of your spine till you rock up to a seat and through to a tabletop. So you just rock up, cross your ankles, roll over to your hands and shins. As you come to hands and shins, we'll take a moment just to warm the wrists up. I know we spend a lot of time here, and also it is a part of the sun salutation for us to come through this tabletop position, even as we do classic sun salutations for knees, chest, and chin, or if you were doing sun A's for chaturanga. So, with your wrist, we're going to spread the fingers wide, press down through your fingertips, and pull them back towards the center of your palms. As you feel your hands activate a little bit, straighten your elbows, lean out over your fingertips, and lean back, and lean out. Keep the fingertips actively pressing down and dragging back. Lean back, lean out, and back. Mindful to keep the elbows straight and squeezing towards each other so they're not just locked, but they're actively turning your triceps on a little bit, or prepared to turn your triceps on, I should say. One more time back, and now rock it forward. This time as you rock forward, rock to the left. Just making some circles. If you find that there's too much pressure on your wrist, even already, you could put a blanket under the heels of your hands, or you might find that putting your hands on blocks will change the angle enough that this will feel reasonable. So experiment with that. If you feel too much pressure or any pain in your wrists already, change directions of your circles, rocking to the right. Okay. Flip your right hand onto the back of your hand so that your fingers now point towards your knees. Elbows stay pretty straight. Only give your hand as much weight as you need though. So for me, my wrists can be sensitive some days. I climb, that might put my wrist in a situation where it's like, this pressure doesn't feel good right away. But as I warm up the muscles, it feels better and better to take more weight. So I don't rush into weight bearing on this right hand. I just keep my elbow straight and I open my hand up like I want my fingernails to press into the mat. So as I have an active hand pressing down gently, I'm finding some sort of kind of change in that sensation, feeling like I could weight bear more. Now take your right hand and squeeze it into a tight fist. Keep breathing. Open it up. Make a tight fist. Open your hand. And one more time, a tight fist. And open your hand. Now notice if it's a little more weight bearing, a little more friendly. And then peel your hand off the mat. Flip your right hand back over, palm meets the mat. Flip your left hand over. Same thing, spread your fingers so that your fingernails press down into the mat. Elbow is straight and elbows are still gently squeezed into the center line. Inhale. Exhale, make a tight fist with your left hand. Beautiful. Inhale, open your hand. Exhale to a fist. Ooh, yes, good stuff. And one more. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. And as you inhale, open your left hand, flip it back over. Gently, we're gonna tuck the toes under, sit back towards the heels. Now, this is like, ooh, plenty for you right here. Grab a block, place it between your feet because we're gonna go a little further, but I want you to feel supported. So you should be able to sit pretty high. Most of our feet will not be much longer than a block, if not shorter than a block, so we should be able to sit pretty high where the heels might not have to meet the hips directly. So as you sit here, and for some of us, you'll be like, oh, I can sit back on my toes pretty easy. You know, I've been doing this, or my feet just like that. You're fine to sit here as well. Make sure you're comfortable though. Arms will lift up, palms reach the ceiling. Last little wrist warm up, one of my favorite ones. Inhale, spread your fingers wide like your hands standing on the ceiling. Exhale, curl your wrists forward. Inhale, open your hands. Exhale, curl them forward. Inhale, open. Exhale, curl. Inhale, open. Exhale, curl. And moving a little faster with the hands, but keeping some sense of deepness with your breath. Last 3. And lower the arms. All right. Little bonus for the shoulders there. Come back to tabletop. Release your feet. Move your block if you were still using that. Spread your fingers wide. Dig your fingertips. What are fingertips? Okay, so your fingertips dig into the ground. As you feel your wrist stable, not too much pressure on your wrist, and your hands are active. We're going to draw the belly and ribs in, away from the floor. So it's like if you could imagine cow pose, and you let your belly and ribs sink. Cat pose, you're pulling everything away. Keep this pull from cat and allow your spine to be long while still keeping that activity of pulling the belly and ribs in. Once you get there, push down through your hands and your right knee, right shin. Lift your left foot up behind you. Flex your foot. Push it to the ceiling. And now make a very large circle. Lift your left knee out to the left. All the way up towards your elbow. And then swing it back through the center. Push back to the ceiling with your left foot. As high as you can. Keep your core on, keep your ribs in. Sweep your knee forward, close to your tricep and elbow. Let it slide next to your right knee. And one more time, push your left foot back. Keep your core and ribs in. A little bit of work there. Glute fires. Left knee moves out to the left. Big circle. And now go the other direction. Lift your left knee out to the left. Flex your foot. Turn the bottom of the foot all the way to the ceiling. Keep your core and ribs turned on. Arms straight. And then let it slide back next to your right knee. Left knee lifts out to the left again. Foot reaches the ceiling. Push up. And left knee slides down. One more time out to the left. And as the foot reaches the ceiling, squeeze the core, squeeze the ribs, push into the arms. Exhale, lower your left knee. Whew. That's a little bit of work. So feel free to rock the hips left to right in between the two sides. Give the hands a shake if the wrists need that. And then once you reach your tabletop again, sometimes I find looking down really helps. So you'll see me look down through this next one to keep my spine long. As you draw your ribs and belly in, push into the arms. Lift your right foot up behind you as you press your left shin down. Squeeze your right glute, squeeze your core and ribs. Right knee out to the right, make a big circle. Make sure you're breathing through your whole circle. Inhale, right foot pushes up behind you. Exhale, your right knee out, sweeping it by your tricep and elbow. Inhale, push your right foot up and back behind you. One more time. Keep your core and ribs squeezed in, arms straight. Sweep your right knee out. Beautiful. Right knee lifts out to the right this time. And take it all the way back to your right foot. Bottom of the foot's pointing to the ceiling. Right knee sweeps next to the left. Inhale your right knee out to the right. Sweep it back. Foot at the bottom of the foot faces the ceiling. And exhale, right knee sweeps next to the left. Last time. Inhale, right knee out. Lift it nice and high. And as you point the bottom of your foot to the ceiling, squeeze your core, squeeze your ribs in, arms are straight. And exhale, lower your right knee. Take your knees wide with your big toes together. Sit your hips back and reach your arms forward for child's pose. Take a moment to not only catch your breath, but maintain that deep rhythm that you've already investigated and established. Walk your hands over to the right. Press your hips to the left. Breathe into your left side. You can maybe place your left hand on top of your right hand. And now walk your hands over to the left. You can place your right hand on top of your left hand. Lengthen your right side as you inhale. Press your hips to the right as you exhale. Walk your hands through center. Roll back up to your tabletop. All right, and we're gonna move on to a different little function for our hips. Start by just taking your right foot forward between your hands. This is where the blocks are gonna come in quite a bit of handy. All right. From here, walk your blocks closer to you so that they help you sit up. And then you're not gonna need an extra long stance in your lunge that you found with your right foot forward. Instead of looking for an extra long stance, focus on balancing, which might mean that the blocks come a little closer and you just use fingertips. My legs are long, so I'm quite high away from the ground. If you need support, you could grab an extra block, put them on top, something like that. Or you might only just need the one side. And actually for this, I would match whatever leg is forward. Let that be your side that you use to balance. So right foot, right leg forward. From here, pull your back knee towards your front foot. Draw your belly in and find some activation in your hip flexor on your left side. So as you draw that left hip forward, pull your right foot back. Can you reach your chest up? Keep your core tense enough that now, as you squeeze your left glute, you feel a little sensation of stretch on the front of your hip. Maybe you lift your arm if you want more, and maybe take a very, very small back bend. Very small though, doesn't need to be much most likely. If you need too much, you probably haven't activated in the hips and legs quite enough. Maybe you want to challenge the balance, lifting both arms. You're always welcome to put a blanket under your back knee as well. Inhale deeply. As you exhale, lower your left arm to the mat. Your right arm can keep reaching up to the ceiling. Or you might go a little bit further and say, I'm gonna wiggle, and you can create more space by taking your right foot out to the right a little bit, heel toe. And then you might say to yourself, I wanna bend my left knee, reach back with my right hand, grab my ankle. If you're here, you wanna pull the foot to meet your seat first, and then turn your chest up to the ceiling. Once your foot is meeting your seat, you might have to move back to find it. You might be able to draw your hips forward. Make sure they stay in contact. Gently release your left foot back to the mat. Bring your right hand back to the mat. And now we're just going to slide the right knee back. Step the left foot forward for the other side. Same deal, so we can use the blocks to help support us as we make our way all the way up. And again, shorten the stance so that it's not so much of a long lunge, more of an active lunge. Left foot presses down and drags back. Right knee presses down and drags forward. As you feel the right hip flexor turn on, draw your low belly in, ribs in, arm up, maybe both arms up. And then you're welcome to invite squeezing your right glute and a tiny back bend. Keep that rhythm for your breath. One more inhale, reaching up. Exhale, right hand down. Welcome to wiggle your foot out. Create a little bit of space for yourself. And then once again, twist up to the ceiling. Option to bend the right knee. Reach back with the left hand. Grab your ankle. Pull your foot in to meet your seat. Then the hips can move forward as you turn your chest up. Gently release your right foot to the mat, left hand to the mat. And now from here, all we are going to do is allow ourselves to step the right foot forward and have a seat. We can turn to the left so we can take a wide-legged seat as well. And now for your wide-legged seat, if you say this is max, you're like, okay, and I mean max as far as without helping yourself with your hands, this is as far as you could just move your legs out on your own. Take that and come off of it like 30 to 40%. So that you're in a spot where you could clearly like easily sit up, hamstrings aren't feeling overstretched, groin feels pretty comfortable. We're gonna isolate our hip flexors just a bit before we get into any sort of exploration of an actual sun salutation. So from here, flex your toes back towards you, and you wanna dig your heels into the ground a little bit so there could be a slight bend in your knees. With your hands behind you to support your spine. Draw your low belly and ribs in, lift from your low back so that your low belly and low back squeeze in towards each other, creating a very, very tall seat. Now you wanna focus on that tall seat and the low back staying in. So use your hands to support you. And now look at your right leg. Get your hamstrings on a little bit by pressing down through your heels. So my heels are pressing down actively, and I'm almost dragging them back towards me to get a little activation. I'm gonna pick up my whole right leg. Ooh, yes. Feel your hip flexor fire. And bring your knee in close. Pull it in. Bring your leg to the center. Keep your low back lifted. Re-straighten your right leg. Low back is lifted in and up. Bend your right knee, pull it in. Low back is lifted. Take your right leg out and re-straighten it. Lower it down. Let's switch to the left. Little activation in the hamstring. Toes pull back towards you. Low back is lifting up and in. Lift your left leg. Pull the knee in. Take your leg through the center. Low back is lifting. Straighten your leg. Pull your knee in. Left knee out. Left leg straight. And lower. Beautiful. Back to the right. Little dig through the heels. Lift the low back. Right leg lifts. Knee comes in. Right leg to the center. Leg lengthens. Right knee bends in. Right knee out. Right leg straightens. Right leg down. Whew. My hip flexors talk to me when I do this. Left leg, low back up and in. Find that length. Lift. Draw it in. Move it to center. Lengthen. Draw it in. Low back is long. Knee out. Lengthen. Lower. Ooh. Last one on each side. Back to the right leg. Lift the low back. Nice and long. And then again. Right leg lifts. Knee in. Knee center. Leg straight. Knee in. Knee out to the right. Leg straight. And leg down. Left leg. Lift. Knee in. Knee center. Leg straight. Knee in. Leg out to the left. Straight leg. And down. Oh man. Give your hips a little wiggle. And then bring the soles of your feet together for a moment. Knees out. Seated bound angle. You're welcome to sit up on the block if that makes this more comfortable. Pull your chest forward. Lengthen from your low back, low belly. Okay. Find a block before you make this next move. And for most of us will prefer a soft block. So if you have really hardcore blocks like mine, you're gonna see me actually place a blanket on top of my block so that the surface of it is a bit softer for what we're gonna do next. Lie down on your back. Bend your knees, plant your feet, lift your hips up, and slide your block under your low back. So supported bridge pose is where we'll start. Now you might, if you want a nice release on your hip flexors, which have just worked pretty hard, straighten your legs and let your legs just lengthen out in front of you, get a decent stretch on your hip flexors. And after that much intense work on your hip flexors, this could feel really good, like a great release. If this brings up pain in the low back, just start to rebend your knees enough that that's removed, when maybe you can still get a gentle release. So you don't want pain in the low back. There are other ways to stretch the hip flexors that might be healthier for you. So the other option, if that is the case, and you will all try this, so if you were in that straight leg position, bend your knees, plant your feet, Or you could do this from jump if you're doing this as a recording and you're like, oh, I know this one. Lift your legs up to the ceiling. Straighten your legs. And then we're going to cross the legs at the knee. So cross your right knee over top of your left knee. And then you're going to wrap your right ankle behind your left ankle. And pull the knees into your chest. The outer left hip will start to stretch. Usually the sensation is large enough that I feel it and it'll talk to you a little bit. And then unravel your legs. Cross the left knee over top of the right knee. Wrap your left ankle behind your right ankle. Pull your knees in. Outer right hip receives the stretch. Inhale to unwind. Switch. Right knee on top of the left. Exhale, pull the knees in. Inhale, unwind and switch. Exhale, pull the knees in. Inhale to unwind and switch. Notice to do such a large movement, you might need to slow your breath down. Exhale and switch. Pull the knees in. Inhale, unwind. Going to left over right. Exhale, pull the knees in. Inhale, unwind. Exhale, pulling in. Inhale, unwind. This is cow face legs, by the way. Just reclined. Exhale, pull in. For the last time, unwind. Plant your feet. Lift your hips. Move your block. And lower your hips. Now from here, we're going to take another Shavasana. Just a moment to relax. Let our hips receive all of what we've just given them. Let them kind of check in with that effort. Allow that mobility to maybe settle in. And let them remember the type of strength and mobility that they've just explored so that it comes with us into our Sun Salutations. As you lie down and rescan your body and allow it to re-relax from the head and neck down through your shoulders, your spine, your chest, your hips, your legs, all the way out through the feet. Slowly start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Hug your knees into your chest. Rock forward and back along the length of your spine. And however you can, you're going to make your way to stand at the top of the mat. That might mean you rock forward back. Rock forward one time, plant your feet, and stand up. That might mean we roll to the side. However, we're going to be able to stand up reasonably. As you come to stand, find your two locks at the top of your mat in case you need them during your Sun Salutations, and you might find them supported. Bring the feet under your hips, point all of your toes forward. Squeeze your inner thighs together, and with your feet on your yoga mat, imagine you were going to tear the yoga mat into two pieces and push your feet apart like you're going to tear the mat. I love the fact that in the background you're probably hearing these like late fireworks, but you know, it's a thing. It's a recording. What are we going to do? As you feel your legs activate, squeeze your inner thighs together, feet press apart, draw your belly and ribs in like we've been doing all class. We'll move into one of each Sun Salutation, and you're welcome to go further if you feel like you want to go further, but this will just be the guide so that you can feel maybe the difference and what happened in the hips, the wrists, maybe the shoulders, a little bit warm. So we'll see what happens. Exhale everything out, draw your belly in, push through your feet. Inhale, lift your arms. You're welcome to take a back bend. Exhale, fold forward, classical sun salutation first. Step your right foot back. Push through your back heel, inhale, reach your chest forward. Step your left foot back to high plank. Using your blocks for your hands if you need to, even here. Exhale, lower your knees, your chest, and your chin down to the mat. Inhale, straighten your legs, lift your chest, look down at the mat. Draw your belly in and squeeze your shoulders back. Exhale, tuck your toes, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Inhale, high up on your toes, bend your knees and look forward between your hands. Exhale, step your right foot between your hands, squeeze your core in to pull the right foot forward with you. Inhale, reach your chest forward, push through your back heel. Exhale, fold over your legs. Hands could always be on blocks in every lunge or forward fold, so here. And then as you inhale, stand up, lift your arms, pushing through your feet. Exhale, hands draw to your heart center. Other side. Inhale, lift your arms. Welcome to back bend. Exhale, forward fold. Here's where you could come right to your blocks. Head is heavy. Step your left foot back. Inhale, reach your chest forward. Step your right foot back. Exhale, knees. If you have your blocks, here's where you move them. Chest and chin. Inhale, straighten your legs, lift your chest, squeeze your core and ribs in. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, bend your knees, look forward, top of the mat. Exhale, pull the left knee into your chest and step it forward. Notice if your hip gave you a little help there. Inhale, reach your chest forward. Hands could always be on blocks, as I said. Exhale, step forward and fold. Inhale, stand up. And exhale, hands to heart. Beautiful. Moving into a Sun Salutation, a little different, and I'll break it down. I'll teach jumping another time. We'll break down, this is like a little bit more like the beginner's approach, or the recovery approach, if you will. Inhale, lift your arms up. Welcome to back bend. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Draw your belly and ribs in as you reach your chest forward, maybe coming parallel to the ground. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to high plank, and then as you squeeze your elbows in, lower down halfway. Maybe the knees come down for support. Maybe the legs are straight and strong. Either way, as you bend your elbows, you don't have to go halfway all the way. Chaturanga could be here, 20%, or like 40. If you do get 50, squeeze your elbows in. Make sure you feel stable and your shoulders can remain engaged and squeezing onto your back as you flip your feet. Inhale to your back bend of choice. Knees can be down for a high cobra or knees lifted for up dog. Either way, belly and ribs are still engaged. Exhale, tuck your toes, lift your hips. Downward facing dog. Beautiful sun A. And traditionally, you would hold here for 5 breaths. So let's take those 5 breaths. Pushing into your fingertips, reaching your chest back towards your thighs, and lifting your hips to the ceiling, meaning your knees bend as much as they need to let that happen. Let your head be heavy, look back towards your feet, dig through your fingertips. Inhale, bend your knees, come up high on your toes, look forward. As you exhale, step forward to the top of the mat and fold over your legs. Press down through your feet. Inhale, stand up, lift your arms up, look up at your thumbs. Exhale, draw your hands to your heart. Did we skip a halfway lift? We might have. It's okay, we'll get it on the next round. This time, Sun B. Sun B is very similar to Sun A, so there won't be much changing. And this will be our last little flow through. If it's your first time doing this, maybe this is when you learn Sun B. If you know it, have fun with it. See if you can be really specific about some of these cueings for the low belly and the core especially. That will, if you've been doing a lot of these, that will stabilize and strengthen your core and your back in a way that will hopefully feel safer for you as you continue to do more sun salutations. Plant the feet, push the feet apart on the mat. Really important for chair pose, which is where we're going. As you feel the outer hips turn on, inhale, sit your hips back, lift your arms up, keep your chest lifted, chair pose. Exhale, fold forward over your legs. Inhale, lift halfway, belly and ribs draw in as you parallel yourself to the ground. Exhale, plant your hands, step back, lower down, chaturanga. Some variation, maybe the knees are down. Inhale, flip your feet, upward facing dog. Dig through your fingertips, draw your belly and ribs in. Exhale, downward facing dog, right away. Step your right foot forward between your hands, spin your back heel down. Option to keep the back heel lifted if that's more comfortable in your practice, but bend your right knee. Inhale, lift your arms, warrior one or crescent lunge. Exhale, come all the way down. Hopefully the hips feel nice and ready for that warrior one. Step back, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, back bend, up dog, cobra. Exhale, down dog. Flip the toes, press the heels down. Step your left foot forward. Spin your back heel down or keep it lifted if that's more comfortable. Inhale, warrior one. Arms lift. Belly and ribs are drawn in the whole way up. And then they stabilize you the whole way down. Step back, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. From here, lower down to your knees and come to child's pose. Now, if you are in a space where you're like, you know what, I'm in my sun salutation rhythm, I'm gonna keep going, feel free to keep going. If you're not, and you're like, you know what, I feel good with that, that's what I needed today, I just needed like that little relief and that little check-in, we're gonna actually spin our legs around in front of us, find our way back to a comfortable shavasana. Maybe that means blocks come back under the knees again. As we come to lie down, palms face the ceiling, toes sway out, and we'll allow ourselves to settle here. Either way, whether you're going to continue with rounds or if this is your departure, I want to thank you for taking your time to practice with me this afternoon, this evening, this morning, whenever you decide to watch this, and hope to see you again. Thank you for your time, energy, and your practice. Namaste. Peace, y'all.